Hello, and welcome to another Oki Solo Channel YouTube video. So today I wanted to briefly touch on a topic that I think is going to end up rearing its ugly head multiple times across multiple videos that I'm looking at doing in the future. And that's the idea that the way that we define species isn't always good at representing what's happening in the real world. So the best analogy I've ever heard for what defining a species is that it's like someone trying to find a language. And at first you look at it and you're like, wow, seems very easy. Why doesn't everyone do this? And then you start digging into it and you're like, okay, never mind, this is really hard. So the example I'm going to give is think about French speakers today, and you hear French and your reaction is probably something like, ah, yes, that's French. And it's clearly French, and I'm not going to mistake it for anything else. Okay, you go back 2,000 years and you hear someone speaking Latin, and you go, ah, yes, this is Latin, and it's clearly Latin, and I'm not going to mistake it for anything else. So when you're defining a species, functionally you're the guy that's going in there and you're picking a time point or defining it some way, something like these 5 words are only used by French speakers. And that means that at this time point, everyone forward is a French speaker and everyone before that is a Latin speaker. And you can immediately see how that gets problematic because language changes slowly through time. And that also ignores the fact that if you go far enough back, Latin is actually the ancestor of multiple different languages. And so you have to draw those lines in each of those language lineages and say, this is only Portuguese, and this is only Latin, and this is only Italian, and this is only Latin. And you can immediately see, oh my goodness, this is really complicated. And so I wanted to draw on a very specific extreme example, and that is Megalodon teeth. And so the Otodus lineage is considered by many to be a Chronospecies, and a Chronospecies is a very unique thing to find in the fossil record because in most family trees we only find random branches here and there, and so we're just trying to piece together what the dots between those branches are. A Chronospecies is when you have very well-defined transitions from one to the other. And what functionally happens though is, and I drew a diagram to illustrate my point here, let's say you're in a cliff face, and thanks to the way how sediments accumulate on top of each other, the younger sediments are going to be on top and the older sediments are going to be on the bottom. And you start here and you find these very robust teeth with serrations and no side cusplets, and you go all like 50 million years into the past, and you find these narrow teeth with no serrations and well-defined side cusplets. And then you can find transition stop points in the middle there, like auriculatus here. I think this is pronounced obliquus. Auriculatus has serrations, side cusplets, and narrow teeth. And you go and you can keep going to angustidens and then chubutensis, where it has these rudimentary vestigial side cusplets, serrations, and a robust tooth morphology. But these transitions happen slowly through time, and you can even find this in the real world. So Perez et al. 2019, they actually described in the Calvert Formation in the Chesapeake area, where you can go back to about 16 million years ago, and the fossil beds are largely dominated by chubutensis. And then you go forward in time, and to about 2 million years ago, and the fossil beds are almost entirely dominated by Megalodon teeth. And there are this massive span of overlap where one morphology is slowly overtaking the other one. And so this results in very heated debates among scientists about what defines one species over the other. There are people out there that say chubutensis is not a valid species. It is just a specific type of morphology of Megalodon. And there are people who say that Megalodon is part of the Carcharocles genus because only Carcharocles should have serration, so everything that doesn't have a serration is Otodus. I fall into the camp that since it's a Chronospecies, we should probably just sort it into the same genus. Otodus, Megalodon, Otodus, chubutensis. XYZ. And so I just wanted to keep this video very brief, just to highlight how hard defining a species can be. And maybe when you're looking at something like a cubensis or a bird or a, let's say, any type of mammal, or even human, you start running into these really annoying situations. So like Gutsit Gibbon is this amazing channel where she talks about hominin evolution. And it's actually really hard to define when Australopithecus evolves into Homo, because the transitions from one to the other are so gradual and so well documented in the fossil record that it's really hard to say this one thing is one and then the other, because they overlap through time through each other. Like, imagine trying to define a language by what words a speaker of that language uses, and that's what we're dealing with a species. So I hope this was fun. I wanted to keep it brief and light, and I hope you find it interesting. So I hope you stay safe and stay curious, and maybe look at some cool fossil shark teeth in a new light.